I agree. I think so too. And it's interesting that Ehome decided to ban the Storm. I think after last game, they were just like... But then the weird thing is then they picked the Lion. So they had a reason to like be okay with it, I guess. But I think they're just worried about the split push. Razor's banned by them. That's just a hero that we saw them pick first to almost every single game we casted them. Like,
yes,
3 in a row.
Specifically against Gyrocopter, which they have in their hands now.
Yeah, so I think this one's kind of like, we don't want to play against it. Curious to see that we haven't seen more Vipers recently. I think we saw them in the first day a lot more, and in the wild card we saw them a bunch, but it seems like teams prefer the Razor over the Viper, unless you're like a C team. Like Phoenixes of the world and the Fanatics of the world seem okay with still picking it. But it seems like the Western and the Chinese teams especially prefer the Razor, actually.
Now, last couple bands out. Let's talk about Vici Gaming's draft, actually. The Bounty Hunter Tusk, it feels like you've got a lot of ganking and single target pickup, and then they grab the Dragonite. Why do you think that is? Because I'm looking at it and going, okay, there's still a good amount of magic damage. Your Dragonite isn't going to allow you to win team fights against Ehome. Dragonite isn't... I don't feel he's a very good split push hero. Like, when it comes to the pushers of Dota 2, Dragonite, he pushes, but he doesn't split push particularly well.
The thing that you should think about when you look at Vici Gaming's lineup is eventually you have to end the game. What's all the net worth in the world worth? But you need a high ground hero. You need something that can be up front and hit buildings. Bounty Hunter is like the worst hero in the game. Bounty Hunter Tusk, you don't really want to do either with those heroes. Same with Winter Wyvern. So your Vici Gaming, one, it's a superhero. Super likes to play it. And secondly, I mean, think about it. Like, they do need some way to punish. Like, you can't just get kills. Like, you have to push towers with that to actually get the gold. It's kind of like if you pick like only a team with like Ember plus, I don't know what else is really greedy. Ember plus like, no, Queen of Pain's okay. I guess Ember plus Queen of Pain. You know, you have no way of ending the game unless you've snowballed so hard that it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I think that's what Vici Gaming are actually trying to do, is that they need some hero to go high ground.
Train Protector now being grabbed. We haven't seen a whole lot of Train Protector outside of Evil Geniuses, who have picked it up at least twice. But now we see it specifically against this team. I feel like it's a really good way to respond to the Bounty Hunter and the pressure he puts on roaming. Like, it pretty much just offsets the Bounty Hunter's right clicks entirely. And it will be able to keep some towers up against the Dragonite as well. Ember Spirit now for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, though. If it very clearly seemed like they knew they were going to take the Ember because there was a Queen of Pain on the other team. Right. And you need some way to lock her down. And so you know you're going to pick a Bounty Hunter, a Tusk, and an Ember. None of those heroes can go high ground. They're just so bad at it. Yeah. Like, you're just asking to die. So you need something to be a frontliner for you. So I think the Dragonite pick in my brain makes a lot of sense anyways. Because if you look at Ehome's lineup, you can send the Queen of Pain up. Because she'll just naturally build tanky. Same with the Gyrocopter. Like, the Gyro will have a BKB, a Satanic, Butterfly, so going high ground with him is no issue. But I think I agree with you on the tree thing, though. It counters the Tusk card, too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what the meta is, like, evolving even further as, like, the group stages go on. It's like a team picks this, then they're starting to see what happens, and then each team tries to, like, next level each other. You notice that? It's like, Tree is a hero that I'm almost certain Ehome picks because they must have seen Vici's game. Their games were done so much earlier. Yeah. And they must have thought to themselves, like, look how well that worked against the Bounty and the Tusk. Like, we actually just dominated.
All right, so starting things off, Vici Gaming, the game number 1 against Ehome, are going to be running a off-lane Tusk with FY roaming around on the Bounty Hunter. They've got a mid-Super Dragonite. How is going to be playing the safe lane farming Ember Spirit with Fenrir backing him up. Ehome, in the meantime, are going to be running ROTK as the off-lane Darkseer DDC, playing the Tree and Protector. CTY going to be our mid Queen of Pain facing Super. Lanham on the Lion. And that just leaves Yang, or YJ, here as the Gyrocopter safe lane. Huh. You're looking at cosmetics. Is that what
I don't know what any of the... I don't know, you know I don't collect cosmetics. Yes. So it's like really interesting for me to see some of them. And like, because I don't actually know anymore what the heroes originally look like at this point. There's just, you know, there's so much stuff There's just so much stuff.
Are you one of those people who wishes there was a mod
that you can just get rid of? Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I would play with that, but
certain like the Dream Protector skin, I actually don't like that one. It looks cool, but it just makes the hero look so different. I don't. It bothers me.
I guess some of them are just. You know what? It's not that big of a deal because it's more that the heroes look different in the loadout than they actually do in game. Like in game, you almost can't even tell.
FY? Is he going to get this one? It looks like it.
Oh,
the early
boy.
bounty rune is the typical play where you want to try and pick up a health potion just to give yourself that extra bit of regen, and that is immediately picked off by FY's bounty hunter. You know it's going to happen, and it still happens anyway.
He announced to the world, I'm bounty hunter. It's like
I'm
Ursa.
going to snipe your courier.
Yeah, it's like Ursa. You play against Ursa, and you don't check for a level 1 Rosh, and he does level 1 Rosh. You deserved that. You really did. Like, you actually deserve to get level 1 Roshan.
And now CTY, he actually doesn't have a counter ward. FY is prepared if they dropped a counter ward in the middle lane to deal with that twice in a row. But they don't even have a single counter ward here. They placed it further up near the river area. And then they have another counter ward for like a laning ward at top.
This is sick too. Like, they anticipated each other's lanes. So both offlaners are going to have a pretty good time when it comes to farm and last hits. Like, the Darkseer is actually dominating in last hits. And you expect this, though, because ROTK is against both a Winter Wyvern and an Ember. And what did we say about Ember like yesterday?
He's really bad versus magic damage because the Flame Guard just disappears.
Yeah, and it's more just, too, that he doesn't do anything at the first 2 levels. He's such a greedy pick. I was talking to Pyrian about this. Like, you pick heroes like Ember or Anti-Mage because their payoff is better, but the punishing potential is, like, so terrible.
Yeah. I mean, at this point in time, like, if he were to pop Flame Guard, it would disappear almost instantly to double Ion Shell.
50 magic absorb.
Yeah, 50 magic absorb.
What a hero.
Like, whoop, there it goes.
What a hero.
All right, so CTY, this should be a winning matchup, right? But he's not going to be able to punish Super, like, very hard. It's just, you're always going to get harassment down. Top lane, they're battling over that bounty rune. It looks like FY almost goes down, but they have no more counter vision left to be able to catch him. So he invis and walks himself out.
They have to be so unhappy with how this is going because the Queen of Pain now is losing the matchup, and CTY, to me, strikes me as a player that relies on winning the lanes.
Yeah.
If not for his confidence, but it's just that he's used to doing it. And when you become used to doing something, like I'm the type of player that expects this timing at this timing, it really just screws with you because we saw what happened when he got to play the Bloodseeker, right? Like, he was actually able to snowball really hard against Storm. And they lost the game, but you saw the potential of what he can do. That game definitely wasn't on him. And you're starting to see it now, is that he's used to winning the lane, and now that he's not actually playing optimal.
Yeah, the pickoff of the courier just killed any attempts at a Queen of Pain being aggressive because this constant breathe fire is actually bringing him just low enough, and he has no regen to be able to keep himself up. Maybe DDC will give him a couple living armor hits. They now upgrade the courier, so that's not going to be picked off. He'll get both his bottle as well as the health potion, so perhaps CTY can get some control back in this lane. Meanwhile, the aggro tri lane out from Ehome seems to be doing quite all right. They are actually pulling the hard camp, which is a nice way to deny the Tusk some experience. He is level 3, soon to be level 4. Compare that to our Darkseer, who's already level 4.5. It's just the double Ion Shell spam that is very tough for an Ember Spirit to deal with.
That was a really cool buff they made to it. The duration is so short that you can cast double Ion Shell.
Yeah.
It makes it really difficult for you to pressure him, especially as a melee. Like, his Flame Guard just died almost instantly. And it's going to be hard for How to really pressure this lane, and it doesn't even really look like they care very much about it. And 3 heroes are down here, but I don't think they can kill ROTK.
Yeah, the extra level in the Surge easily getting him ahead of Vici Gaming. They're going to grab the double damage rune for Super, bounty rune for CTY.
So,
do you think the trade-off here is worth it? The Darkseer, I mean, he's obviously going to get more in his lane, but the Tusk is getting a good amount of experience and is much more active and much more powerful in the first 20 minutes of the game when it comes to, like, finding kills and such. Do you think this trade-off of offlaners is worth it?
in my opinion, it is, because the Tusk actually needs his teammates to do stuff. Like, your Tusk generally needs at least 1 or 2 supports with you, but Ehome's doing a really good job of making it difficult to gank, because the Tusk and the Bounty Hunter, if they gank this top lane, they would just straight up die, right? YJ's Rocket Barrage, and this mid lane, DDC can just help out the Queen of Pain infinitely. It's almost ungankable, because he's just going to stack this camp and just help the Queen of Pain get further ahead. And it's actually getting real low, but...
Yeah, he's actually being body blocked quite well by FY, and he's getting close to being able to pick up the kill and needs another right click, but CTY starts forcing him back, and FY actually doesn't have another invis for 10 seconds, so one more right click, and CTY picks up the first blood. And that was an incredible body block that he just kept DDC taking all the aggro of the neutrals, but unfortunately doesn't quite get that last right click required to get the first blood.
I'm actually just baffled that CTY, it seems to always happen to him. It's like, no matter what happens, somehow he has a decent laning phase.
Oh, double damage. They're going to try and finish off CTY nice and quick, but the burst damage still isn't there. If only they had a level 3 bounty hunter, they could have actually snowballed this, but no shuriken for him just yet, and CTY backs up. Super trying to aggressively push forward, though, at least trying to get some damage on the tier 1 tower.
You think he heard that ward get placed? Maybe. I don't think so, actually. DDC doesn't seem to know. Or he would have placed it already.
Yeah. Farther up. Yeah. Another bounty rune. Ember Spirit's going to take the illusion at bottom lane.
I don't know how I feel about this.
What times do you go bottle on a hero like Ember Spirit, or generally any safe laner?
Almost always.
Sort of.
The ones that aren't self-sufficient. Oh, wait a second here.
Bounty Hunter's fine. He's going to get out of range of this.
He's just trapped for
yeah.
now. Okay, never mind. He's not.
He'll run the yeah. He's going to run the really long way around.
He's going to get. I think he get hit by the tower once here. For this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awkward. Okay, heroes like Morphling, the ones that naturally rely on spam. Oh, they might actually catch him here as a result of this. In fact, they are just being outplayed. FY's a god. He knows where they are because of that ward.
Yeah, and they're running the courier through the counter ward area.
But as I was saying, think of the heroes that spam a lot, like Storm, Morphling, Ember. Who else relies on mana heavily as a carry? That might be it.
There's occasionally like Slark will go bottle or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's a little bit more rare.
Bit rare.
Yeah, because you have the natural regen factor. But heroes like that will almost always go bottle. Like SF short lane, I've seen go bottle quite some times.
Yeah.
Ember probably needs it though, because he's gonna get zoned out by the what's that ability called?
Ion Shells.
Yeah, so frequently. I think going Ring of Health first item is kind of bad.
The Dragonite CS 35-2 compared to the Queen of Pain's 43-13, so CTY is winning his lane by a decent margin. Bottom lane, how's actually going to go for YJ? The Rocket Barrage is doing a good amount. And finally, I think Hao played that really well, where he basically used Flame Guard and soaked up almost all the damage up until Flame Guard was about to take too much damage and expire. So he just like put some pressure essentially on that gyrocopter, and now with the haste rune, he's going to come back for more, going for Yang. And Remnant is going to be able to get him over this wall though. Ehome consolidate the heroes at this bottom lane. No longer wanting to run that aggro tri-lane. Why exactly? Is they just rotate over to deal with the Ember Spirit wherever he goes?
I think it's more just that you want to guarantee the gyro just does well naturally against the Ember Spirit, because the Rocket Barrage destroys you. I think it was yesterday, right? It was like Swindle Melons had to play against Maybe's gyro mid, and that was like the most painful lane I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a good natural counter, but and ROTK's had a good enough time, but they're actually just sending him back up to top, which I think is a mistake, because now it's the lane is scary for him at top. He can't really survive being in the off lane for very long. So unless they
oh, nice stun. They actually got that one out before Super could get his stun. Now he tries to burst down Lanham, still not throwing out the Dragon Tail. Finally does it now, but goes for the TP out, immediately interrupted by ROTK's vacuum. And now Super, just desperate to try and get a kill still, is running after Lanham, but that's not going to happen. Ehome pick up their second kill of the game, and Vici Gaming still rocking a big fat 0.
I think it was like a lot of people called CTY the best mid in the world at one point because of his mechanical ability and his ability to snowball more than anything.
Yep.
And I remember like even 2 years ago watching his replays and trying to figure out what he does better than everybody else. And I used to think it was luck. You know, it was like things just happen for him. He, kills just follow into his lap. But, it happens enough times and you start to realize it's not luck. It's just the fact that the player is really good. That he looks for these opportunities and always knows where to position himself. That's why I think he almost always over farms, because he's more willing to just make sure that if he does something, it's the optimal move. Like, he's getting something out of it. Like, he's getting a kill or he's getting a ton. He's helping his teammates in some way. That's the type of player that I think he is. So it's not luck. It's just, it happens for him, I guess.
Tusk is now rotated down to the bottom lane to deal with the tri-lane of Ehome once again, and they'll put their Ember Spirit, I'm sure. He's actually doing some jungling here, which I suppose is something I didn't really think about as an Ember Spirit's doing once he picks up his level 4 Flame Guard, but just a little bit of free space being given to FY, I suppose, to get his level 6.
Yeah, you don't want... I think we saw it in a few games. I think part of the reason why the bounty hunters were so useless is because they seemed okay with just trying to snipe couriers and stuff like that, but by the time they needed to actually be level 6, they weren't, right? Like, Febby was level 6 at like 20 minutes when we casted it. We saw that yesterday too. I think that's a big part of the problem with when you play bounty, is that you're a little bit too passive. Get into this idea that once I get track, everything's cool, but eventually you need
TK, he lays out the wall, being run down. The Shuriken does a lot of damage, throws out the vacuum, but doesn't look like it even hit. Vici Gaming pick up that kill, primarily thanks to the double damage on How. Snowball in, CTY, ooh, able to blink just ahead of that snowball landing, and now Ice is overextended. Straight into that tier 1 tower with Yang as well as Lanham waiting for him.
It's really funny to see CTY play sometimes, because he reminds me of pretty much everybody. Like, he was about to throw that ulti out for the last hit. He thought about it. Like, it was mid-cast animation. It was like, it's such a long cooldown, but he was willing to do it just so he would guarantee himself the kill. 135 seconds. But
I can understand why he would do it, though. I mean, the faster Orchid means he can shut down the Ember Spirit that much earlier, right?
Yeah, but that kill was like the most guaranteed thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It just looked clowny as all.
TY grabs the bounty rune. Fenrir, who was placing a ward, almost gets caught. He's good now. Top lane. They're going to be able to take out our TK again. Again, this Darkseer just keeps getting caught by the Ember Spirit.
This is pretty significant that Hao keeps getting kills on him, because they're more or less solo at the same time, so he's getting so much XP.
CTY, well, not really stuck in a bad position because there's just not enough offense. Maybe with Hao coming in now, they don't have the Flame Guard just yet, but they do have the single target stuns to control that Queen of Pain long enough. Now Lanham gets caught by the Ice Shards. Remnant kind of misses there. Lanham's trying to juke his way around, but that is a bounty. And so we can't really hide inside the trees. Vici Gaming pick up 2 more kills in the middle lane and back out.
Hao's getting so farmed right now. You don't want to see an Ember Spirit this farmed at this juncture of the game, because he's naturally just meant to have a harder time than most heroes. And he struggled some in that bottom lane, but I mean, he's come back in such a big way with ROTK dying to him pretty much solo twice. You're seeing him just build a level lead.
And those kills also gave experience to FY, which then allows them to get the first of their bounty kills.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the bounty hunter's got 6 now. He's actually really farmed, FY.
Yeah, he certainly is.
What the?
I'm actually rather confused. I mean, he got some free farming time in the top lane, but he still only picked up 18 CS. He was a part of those Darkseer kills, but the kills themselves went to Hao both times, and I think that was his first track kill in the middle lane on that Lion.
Oh, this is
I don't
really
think he got it off on the Queen of Pain.
He just placed a ward as they game sensed him.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well played.
They know about the other ward too, is the scary part. They might just be visionless if they're not careful here. And the problem though for Ehome when they do this though, Cap, I think, is that Lanham is just, they need him to get a blink dagger, and he's just not. Like, it's gonna take quite some time for him to get a blink. How far is he? Doesn't even have Tranquil Boots, but they need him to open up.
And this rate, I mean, it's very tough for a Lion to go up against the Tusk, because normally, like, heroes start running at you, you've got disables to be able to defend yourself. The Snowball, like, what do? You're going to get stunned first, and the Walrus Punch will come up, so you can be bursted down before you're ever able to get off a disable against something.
That's a really good way to put it. I guess most stuns, if you see somebody coming in, you can prevent.
Yeah.
Like, you can just throw your Earth Spike at the same time when you see a Sven running at you. But if the snowball hits you, there's actually zero chance. You can't just, like, stun the snowball. That's actually... Man, I never really thought of it like that. Dota's a weird game like that. Everything's really obvious once you think about it. But somebody has to tell you about it first.
RTK, oh, careful there, buddy. Flame Breath, and now going to be stunned up at the Dragon Tail. He's still got the mech, though. Never mind, RTK is fine. Meanwhile, they find another kill on the Queen of Pain. Was that Winter's Curse?
Yeah.
Yep, that was the ultimate use from Fenrir.
This is pretty huge, because they're going to get a free tower at top at the same time. And we were talking about how CTY is a snowball player, and they're just completely shutting him out of the game right now. Like, they slowed his momentum like crazy. Super's getting a tower out of this, and he's just consistently farming. And despite the lead that the Queen of Pain has, it's almost entirely gone. It's even worse because it's How that's getting the kills. How often do you see an Ember at the top of the net worth chart? It's really rare.
Yeah, this early on into the game, yeah, it's quite rare. You must have had some really good fights for that to happen. But Ember Spirit not only got good fights, but he also was really good at CSing. I mean, I think he's still top of the board. Like, ahead of the Gyrocopter, that's very, very odd.
This is the potential of How as a player. I mean, you can't really say potential because the guy won a TI. Like, potential was fulfilled, but when you're playing on the team with him, like, this is why you pick him up, because he provides you so much. Like, before Vici Gaming, when he was on, I can't remember what team it was, Tongfu with Mu. That was their golden, that they called it like the golden pair, right? Tongfu plus Mu, you knew that they were, or How plus Mu, you knew they were so reliable. They would always be together at the top of the net worth chart, regardless of what heroes they were playing.
That Orchid, very slow to coming in for CTY. I mean, he had that first Oblivion staff at like 9-10 minutes or something. And now 6 minutes later, he still hasn't completed the second Oblivion staff.
Yeah. You know what's weird? I want to point out an observation. Almost every single time I see ROTK, it's insane because he always has like the best offlane start out of any player I know, and then he just slows down. You notice that? Like, even when he was Clockwork. Like, bottom.
Nice combination. Surge into the Hex, controlling Ice as best as possible. He still gets off the Snowball, and he's actually going to try and run himself away, but there's a lead sheet to slow him down, and he will end up falling. Now, Fenrir's coming in. He's got Winter's Curse, so he can actually pop it somewhere, but it doesn't look like his allies want to rotate. They are very content with just taking the middle tier 1 tower and probably putting pressure on tier 2 while they give up the bottom offlane tower. I mean, it's an offlane tower. You don't necessarily have to defend that. They should defend the top tower, though. It seems like a free deny.
Doing a lot of damage.
Oh, CTY, he gets caught, makes the blink over to the side. FY, they don't see him in time. If the Remnant was in the right position, they would have seen him and maybe shurikened him before he TP'd out.
It would have been close for sure. How had a DD at the same time, so. But How's got his Battle Fury plus Treads and a Ring of Aquila at like 18 minutes. It's actually kind of average, the timing, but in the context of this game where everyone's a little bit underfarmed, it's probably really farmed, actually.
Yeah. Oops, CTY gonna jump on Super here and pull back with the vacuum. He's still super tanky, but the call down lands on him. Only one of them though, so he's still slowed down only slightly. Fenrir managed to get off a good Winter's Curse and Super.
Boy.
Oh, he's actually surviving. YJ goes for the last bit of Rocket Barrage damage, does get it in the end, but where's the rotations? Vici Gaming are just not responding to this in time. Ice is here. Lana managed to finish off Fenrir. From behind, we do have a Bounty Hunter just kind of waiting, but he can't actually take on a full 5-man team fight. So Ehome managed to pick up 3 different kills and will now take a tier 1 tower. That's a gigantic upset.
I'm actually really surprised that he went for the Cold Embrace on the Dragon Knight there.
Yeah.
Because that guaranteed he was dead. Like, that was his death sentence. I thought, because the Queen of Pain Scream was down too. So if the Dragon Knight has drums, he just continues to run there, pops a charge, and then gets out. Maybe they continue to go for it, and maybe it's successful, but that way, the way that just happened, you guaranteed he died. Like, you didn't leave any question, and so...
Yeah, I think in that situation, the only way the Cold Embrace is worth it is essentially there's mass TPs from Vici Gaming where in order to, yes, you may kill the Dragon Knight, but in order for the enemy team to get that Dragon Knight kill, they have to overcommit into a tower.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, Vici Gaming just can't... Like, that's, again, the biggest problem with the Bounty Hunter at this point in time of the game. You don't want to have 5 versus 5 team fights a lot of times, unless you just get like a lot of crazy, really good team fight heroes like Undying that are able to do so good in team fights that they make up for the disadvantage that Bounty Hunter's at, but they really don't have that, especially with Dragon Knight, you know, already preemptively kind of being picked off, kind of already being a non-factor. And that now leaves it with a 3 versus 5.
Yeah, and he was there in that fight too. He just didn't do anything. He was like, track. But what's the point?
He's sitting on this side of the river going, I don't know what to do, guys.
Guys, like, just like you guys are on your own. Help yourself. Learn to help yourselves.
Yeah,
I can't do this all for you. That's like the infuriating part about playing Bounty Hunter sometimes, is you just can't do anything. And Ehome with a really cool smoke timing, because this is a timing where I don't think they'll expect. And, oh, they're going to find him for sure.
Bottom. Swings forward, catches FY. Now, they do have the rest of Vici Gaming coming in, so How is already down, or How is already here and bounces himself backwards. Tuskar, well, he's actually snowballed up. Call down gets laid out. Doesn't really hit much there. Vici Gaming are now turning to fight YJ is actually perfectly accepting of this one. He's dropping a bit lower and lower, but he's just man-moding up against Super, just presuming that there's not going to be enough damage. Lana in the background. Oh, How managed to pick up that kill and bounce himself away. Vici Gaming still looking for more, but Ehome, I think they're a bit disappointed with the way that team fight went. I mean, they started with the pick-off and the Bounty Hunter. And the team fight ensued. I felt like there was a lot of missed abilities there. I'm thinking about the call down, which really didn't land on anything. I didn't see CTY really do anything in that fight for some reason.
They might kill him here. He's got the Orchid. They should get a kill here.
Yeah, How is stuck with the Orchid on top of him. Now the Overgrowth, he is completely controlled. Nice snowball save. That actually saved him.
No.
The Orchid popped inside his snowball. There was no damage there. Ice might just still get out. Call down slows him down with the Shadow Strike on top, but never mind. Ice, he gives up his life in order to save his carry. Very nicely played. Lanham's going to find Super now. Finger of Death, and Super is done for. Vici Gaming, just as quick as the team fight kind of goes one way, it rapidly goes the other as Vici Gaming stick around for too long. That was some sort of weird positioning from How, where he got trapped by creeps.
But even then, there was no reason to overplay that, because he knows that the Queen of Pain has an Orchid. You're only... I mean, yes, you can rely on Ice to save you there, but even then, it's very chancy. Like, you're playing a game of, like, millimeters at that point. It's just, there was no need for it. And Ice, like, yes, he saves How, but he has to pay for his life, and I don't think that was necessary at all. And that was a really good play by Ice, because if he does that half a second early, but then by the time the snowball ends, then he just dies from the Orchid burn. But he actually catches it so that How doesn't take damage from either the dagger or the Orchid, because he didn't have Flame Shield either. So that was just really well played by Ice more than anything.
Why is it, do you think, that How went for the Battle Fury? Is it because he felt like Vici Gaming was so far ahead, he's like, I can get Battle Fury and still get Manta in a decent timing, so there won't be a very large window for the Orchid to be effective?
I think he's just relying on his team more than anything.
Okay.
Like, FY at top.
Yeah, he's done for.
One more Scream. Oh, and actually...
yeah. I was about to say, the poison's there, or eventually the next Scream's going to come in.
But I think if your Tusk didn't have a Blink Dagger, you probably wouldn't get it. But I think he was just being a little bit greedier. And they've got stacks to farm. The Battle Fury does help you farm a lot more, and it helps keep you on the map. Like, the regen of it is really underrated.
I guess if you're stacking up Ancients, it's almost like stacking up Ancients with a Tidehunter in your team. And he goes, he forgoes the Ravage in exchange for an extra level of Kraken Shell. That allows him to take up those Ancients and clear through the sack, because once you, like, if you get that and allows you to clean up the Ancients, that will actually give you the level to get Ravage anyway, right? Like, in this way, Battle Fury is kind of the same. If you get the Battle Fury, it allows you to farm up the Ancients, which will still allow you to pick up a Manta in a decent timing anyway.
The timing for this anyways from Ehome is that they're probably not going to push a fight without a Queen of Pain getting a BKB. Or something like, I don't know. I feel like BKB is the right decision here. Just judging by the picks. BKB or an Ags. You just need to get tankier. Ags, the benefit of Ags on Queen of Pain is that it's a natural build-up, and it just makes you, it gives you raw HP, like a lot of it from the point booster and such.
What about Linken's? Because you're dealing with two very serious single-target disables, Dragon Knight's Dragon Tail and Winter Wyvern's Winter's Curse.
I would agree, but Trek has a 4-second cooldown, and it's such a long range.
That's a good point.
If it wasn't for that, I would say yes, but Like, I'm hovering over a track right now. It's actually insane how
Yeah.
it's a full screen. Like
the range is ridiculous. The cooldown is practically nothing.
you can just keep spamming it. So I think going for a BKB is...
Can you imagine a... what's the item that reduces cooldown?
Octarine Core?
Octarine Core, thank you.
Core track.
Yeah.
3-second track.
3-second track.
What a hero.
All right, so we got some items coming in for Ehome. They have now the Blink Dagger for RTK. This is a serious team fight setup alongside Lonham, who also has his Blink, and the BKB is almost complete for the Queen of Pain. Looks like our Train Protector is trying to go for the Medallion into Solar Crest. Both good for taking Roshan as well as buffing up the Gyrocopter. It seems like that's very standard right now. If you're running a Gyrocopter, one of your heroes is going to go for a Solar Crest. It just makes him so much more tanky.
It's just a cool item in general because it helps you Roshan. It makes somebody really tanky so they don't have to get a butterfly immediately. It forces, the reaction that it forces too is insane. Like the fact that you have to get, what is that item called? An MKB to deal with an item that costs nothing?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of absurd if you think about it.
Yeah,
like to counter a Solar Crest, how much does that item cost?
MKB and Butterfly are kind of in the same tier of items, right? They're both very expensive late game items. Solar Crest is sort of a mid-game support item.
You build 5,400 gold just to deal with a 3k item. You actually have to as well because it's 30% evasion. That's only 5% less than a butterfly just for 3k gold. Like that's the issue. It's not that it's cheap or anything like that. It's that what you have to get to counter it. The only thing that gives you True Strike is the MKB. So it's just, that's why what makes it so powerful, and that's why you should get it if you can on any support.
How that Manta's coming in soon, but there's definitely a window here for Ehome to force 5-man fights and just go for tier 2 towers because Vici Gaming are either going to lose the fight or they're going to give up the tower.
Manta's not even that great because the Gyrocopter's going to clear your illusions in half a second.
Yeah.
You're actually just building an item to counter another item. It's kind of funny how Dota works like that.
4-man smoke up from Vici Gaming. They're going to head up to the top lane. I think they want to bait out How. But Ehome, they're actually doing a 5-man smoke of their own. I thought they were just going to barrel into the tier 2 tower and just go, you know what, you can't fight me.
That's what I actually anticipated at the same time. But it looks like this is just going to trade. This has to favor Vici, right? Because they're behind already.
And because they can't fight, so if you're making even trade-offs to your advantage, I mean, like as you say, the Manta's not going to do that much, but it is still an item that's going to be able to deal with the Orchid at the very least.
It's up to Ehome not to overcommit to save this tower, though. Like they've used the glyph. Don't do what you did against Snoopy.
Yeah. This time they have much safer preemptive TPs into tier 3s, and like none of the supports try to TP into that tier 2 tower. So
it's a trap.
Yeah. As you can see, Vici Gaming are still hovering up in this top lane.
Don't overcommit for this. There's no reason. The trade-off is. That's what you should always consider. If you ever wonder, like, why don't they just go on him when you see him alone? It's the trade-off, is that if nobody else is showing themselves, there's the potential that the game just ends and you lose. Because there's 5 heroes sitting behind him, and then they're by your door.
Yeah, they're right in front of your tier 3 tower.
That's what happened with Empire, right?
Yep.
It's like, instead of just backing off, they're like, okay, let's just get into a fight.
Oh, Ice actually blinked in to go for that boundary rune, but is now caught with the Orchid. Vacuum back in and gets the last second snowball. Oh my god, this is a great play. He's going to go to the neutrals. He put his sigil over to the neutrals, gets vision, blinks away, and he still dies.
That was
anticlimactic.
All right, that guy's...
That was a sick play, though.
Oh my... You're a better player than I didn't even comprehend what he was shooting for when he was moving the sigil and everything. Jeez.
That's because I'm a Tusk player.
That's brutal. Like that. I don't even care that he didn't live there. Yeah. It was that he waited out the snowball for long enough so that he could get his Blink Dagger off.
Yeah.
And then, oh man, Ice. Dota's a beautiful game. The fact that he comprehended it like that, that's... I could not do that. Split-second decisions.
Tier 2 tower is going to go down. Ehome, I mean, they're picking things up. We haven't actually looked at the graph all game long. it's primarily because it's been a very even game. You can see Ehome are only holding on to a 1,000 golden experience lead. Bottom lane, YJ start chasing away the rest of Vici Gaming. Nothing's going to happen here. BKB's popped on both sides, and TP's away.
I'm surprised that he actually popped his BKB there, especially when he had support. And they knew that the entire... I guess they might have thought there was a chance that everybody was behind him, but... Oh,
Jump in the mid lane, RTK, he's done for. He's going to be chain stunned here, even with the mech. He stays alive for a while, but he will give up a track gold.
Yeah, and he's a fairly significant target. Like, if you're going to get a kill with the track kill, he's probably one of the better ones. Especially since a BKB charge is just wasted by super. You need to get something out of it. At least that way you can kind of convince yourself, like, okay, you know, I used the BKB charge to get a kill. Actually, that's not even how you come first. That was bad.
Do you think that, like, did he see far enough ahead? Like, you were talking about the BKB. He, like, the BKB actually worked out because he TP'd into the tier 2 tower, which many other heroes did as well. Yeah. So it was actually a very long TP. Lonum could have actually stopped him if he didn't pop a BKB because his TP was super long. But TPing into the tier 2 tower also meant they were in a position to go on that middle lane for the Darkseer. Like, if he just, like, simply gone back to base, there's no way they would have been in a position to go for him.
Yeah, I agree, I guess.
It's kind of a... I'm just wondering if he actually saw that far enough ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's the thing anymore.
That's insane.
I don't really get... I never really doubt somebody's ability to comprehend that, especially since, like, I just saw that ice thing. Like, that might have been one of the more underrated plays that I find phenomenal, but right now, Ehome, they still have a lead. DTY is going for probably my favorite build right now in Dota. The Orchid BKB into Assault Cuirass. Then you grab something like a Daedalus and just become a right-click monster. Like, eventually they're going to have to deal with the Dragon Knight independent of magic damage, and this is how you do it.
I don't think I've ever seen this. Ancient farming in the trees because he's got vision from this creep, and there's a whole bunch of Granite Golems who are melee.
You haven't been playing enough pub Dota then?
Guess not. I mean, I've seen plenty of Cliff Dota.
Man, that Necro thing, that needs to stop sooner than later. The Necro jungle.
Oh, the Necro Ancients.
Yeah, that's a trend that has to...
That is definitely not game-winning Dota.
That's not game-winning Dota.
Ehome, they're setting her up for kill on Hal. They can go ahead, vacuum first, followed up with the potential X, or not. He got off the Sleight of Fist first. The vacuum is just not a very solid disable. In fact, Lonum, they're going to reintroduce themselves to Lonum, who almost goes down, but a really good overgrowth play. They manage to get off the Hex, and a big Sonic Wave on top of the Impale to go down. Touch just barely gets away. Super's left with no support, so now he's going to be forced to pop the BKB, and I think just TP out. Super.
Oh, he thinks the tree still has his ultimate.
Oh, he pops it now, but it's too late. It was almost too late.
That was... If ROTK was like half a second earlier, like he just anticipated for it, then they probably would have gotten that kill, but that was so weird because they knew that Ehome were completely stacked up there, and they still went for the engage without their Dragon Knight in position. Like the fact that they still took that fight, that must have been like a team error. I never like to call something an individual mistake unless it was. That had to have been a team call, like, go fight, we're closer than you think, and then you trust your teammates, and then that happens.
Oh, going for Roshan here, but it's going to be real bad. Winter's Curse laid out. YJ pops the ultimate. Good vacuum back. Vici Gamer going to be forced away from the Roshan pit, but it's kind of a disjointed fight. YJ is in the front line. C2I is actually blink forward with his BKB going for Fenrir. Cold Embrace saves him. Snowball in. Ice trying to control the Gyrocopter for as long as possible in order to get Super out, but Super will still be run down by Ehome. The last couple of right clicks, and they do get him. Vici Gaming still trying to cause some trouble, though. Buyback now from the Dragon Knight. Farther down, FY is now being caught by Lonum. Ehome group up once again in order to claim another fight, but RTK is dropping lower and lower as the Ember Spear is now going to just clean things up. YJ goes down, blink away just in time from CTY, who claims the Bounty Hunter kill, but oh, there goes the Sleight of Fist. Hal claims him in the end, and Vici Gaming will now take Roshan for themselves. It was a very long, drawn-out, discombobulated fight, but it worked to Vici Gaming's advantage.
Oh man, that's the thing, is that you have to be so careful when you're fighting against the Dire side because it's so much more efficient for them to go for the buyback, especially when they have a tier 2 up in mid because they can get there so quickly, and Ehome have to recognize that, but they had the bloodlust in their eyes and they were willing to get into that fight, but man, that was so close. And it was just the fact that the Ember respawns, right? I don't think he bought back. I think he just respawned. It was the Dragon Knight that bought back, and then the fight had happened for way too long. Like, they just weren't in anticipation for that, but props to CTY on that the blink up scream. The fact that he was able to survive there. Just split-second decision-making. Because the Shuriken, I had the Bounty Hunter clicked, he was actually just like,
about to pass it.
He was like, free kill.
Oh, wow. How you doing?
Oh, no.
Remember the stack that the Queen of Pain was trying to farm up earlier? Well, double damage How with just one sleight of fist and 2 right clicks. Claim it for himself.
Now
things just go from bad to worse.
Now he's regretting not doing that when he had the opportunity to farm him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll get back to it later. No, you won't.
No. How gets there first, and he's about to finish up a Daedalus too. Damage is already so immense. Super, he's got the same. Is this the later SNY build again, or? Because I've called Halberd a couple times in these situations, and they still choose to go for the SNY, despite the fact that it's relatively late.
I know that Halberd isn't a popular item, but I think in this game it would be. If you look at it, the gyrocopter is actually going for an Eagle Song, and I think he showed that too.
Yeah.
So you know that he can't just immediately switch. It's like you're committed to a build, and you can't just tech switch into an MKB after buying an Eagle Song. If only Dota were that easy, right? He's like, well, I kind of just wanted, I need an MKB now, so let me just sell this for full value back. That's why you can't do that, right? That's why you don't get full value for items, because it should be a punishing maneuver, but now that he's gone for the butterfly, yeah, it makes you tankier, but at the same time...
Are the BKBs not enough to dissuade an item like Heaven's Halberd?
No, because the evasion chance is still good, and Super's not going to build something like... he's not going to build a butterfly or anything like that. It makes the effective armor that Super has insanely high. Like, he's got 22 armor to begin with, and then he's got all that HP regen and that base health, and then you give him evasion on top of that. Imagine how hard that is going to be for them to kill Super.
All right, Vici Gaming feeling confident after the last team fight that they won, and they've got an Aegis. Ultimate, level 3 ultimate actually for Super. Big upgrade in damage and just general control for him. They're going to be able to take this tier 2 tower, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just try and poke uphill, see what happens.
They should, right? They're in a position where their heroes are really tanky. How does an absurd amount of damage? I think, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, we had an Aegis. We were talking about how, like, Ember Spirit is a terrible hero to push uphill because he just doesn't right-click buildings. Well, when you have an Aegis, you feel a bit more confident doing exactly that. Fenrir now trying to just poke at Ehome while Vici Gaming take that tower.
They have to commit hard for it too, because if you don't, then the tree just heals it, and all of this is for naught. That's why you see Vici almost over-committing for this, because you can't give the tree the opportunity to just heal it to full.
Yeah, the Dragon Knight's going to run out of his ultimate too, and once that down, that's a serious loss of power. It essentially makes Dragon Knight not a hero, but as it fades, Vici Gaming are forced back, and the tier 3 tower will stay alive.
Oh, they're going to be disappointed with this, because all he's going to do is heal it back to full, and now all your hard work goes down the drain. And this is kind of the strength of Tree as a support, is that it's a punisher. Is that in most situations, Vici would be so happy about that they got a tower down to 80 HP, because Ehome's not going to deny it. But because they left it alive, it had 78 HP. It's already at 400.
The Ice Shards, I mean, it blocks Gyrocopter back, but no way Vici Gaming try and force this one. Again, it's just the lack of the ultimate out from the Dragon Knight. They are still sticking around. It looks like they really like the Train Protector does punish you for not being able to finish up the tower, but it does take some time. It seems like Vici Gaming are going to go for another push as soon as that ultimate is up. And at that point, it means that the tower's only healed up a good, 400, 500 HP. So I think this is a very smart play from Vici Gaming. I think many other teams just would have been like, we didn't get it. All right, everyone back.
Yeah.
Jump in. Already, the Hex being laid out on Super. They get the vacuum with a call down over the top. Oh, trying to get the wall, but it missed. Now he actually gets the illusion out, which is big. They're going to be able to do a lot of slow with that one. DDC is also tracked up, but Ehome are just trying to make sure that Vici Gaming are forced back. They've already committed the Dragon Knight ultimate. They don't really need much more, but Vici Gaming are still going to try and go uphill. They lose the Aegis now, though. They'll be a little bit more tepid about trying to force these fights. Missed impale out. ROTK actually dropping lower and lower. Ice. Couldn't quite get the walrus punch there, but the bouncing shuriken gets him in the end. Butterfly is now complete for the gyrocopter, so maybe they can still win a fight if Vici Gaming choose to continue to force it uphill, but they're still missing their great grouping mechanism in that vacuum because, unfortunately, ROTK is dead without a buyback.
Yeah, now Hao's committed his Manta for this push too, so whatever they have before with the Orchid, it's not going to be as effective, and it looks like they still want to get into a fight though.
Oh, White Giant's actually hit by the Dragon Tail stuff before he can get off BKB. Now he pops it, but he's already low. It doesn't seem to matter though. They don't have the physical damage to punish YJ when he was sitting at a 3rd HP. Hao's sitting in the background, another Sleight of Fist gets laid out. It brings him decently low, but now the Hex has caught Hao. CTY hoping to be able to punish him, can't quite get there in time though. The rest of Vici Gaming start backing up. Hao hoping to be able to get a big critical, does manage to get the chains. They come back in force to be able to eliminate the Queen of Pain, but YJ's going to be able to get both of the kills because of that, wiping Vici Gaming. YJ, Yang, ZYF, whatever you want to call him, he stays alive and is going to be the victor for the team fight.
They get the gem back, they kill the Ember, who I previously thought was unkillable. Just so many things went well for Ehome there. They didn't even have to overcommit because eventually the Ember's Aegis ran out, and Vici Gaming, it's like you said, a lot of teams would have backed, but maybe that would have been the better decision in hindsight. Because
I think they were still fighting. Like, I think it's still the right call to stay there because they got the tier 3 tower. The wrong call that they made was trying to continue to keep going after that.
You think after, instead of killing, because killing the Queen of Pain and losing your 2 main cores was definitely not, I think they just leave the Queen of Pain to live and then just leave.
Like, yeah, I would also agree with that. That actually still would have been a winning fight for that match, as now that I think about it. It would have been a 3-for-4 trade-off.
Yeah, and they would have gotten the tower too. So that was, but
I think they just presumed they had such a big advantage with ROTK down. Maybe they wanted to like just force his buyback or something, but
you're seeing the weakness of their lineup though, in that if Super isn't there, Hao doesn't actually deal damage because he can't be that close. He gets blinked on by the Queen of Pain and he just dies. And so you need frontline heroes, and that's the weakness of Bounty Hunter as a hero, is that this is a hero that could potentially be a stunner or some sort of disable, but instead you get a hero that sits there and tracks.
Yeah, it could be an initiator who actually jumps in and draws attention to himself, or it could be a saving hero for the Ember Spirit that would allow the Ember Spirit to feel a bit more confident moving forward. But Bounty Hunter is just neither one. He's a snowball hero.
Yeah, they're not snowballing hard enough off of the track kills. Like, they're just not getting enough out of it, and especially after that last fight, man, that was really critical that it was the gyrocopter that was alone for all of the experience, all of the money. Like, he's just taken such a big lead over everybody else on his team right now. And the rich get richer as he finishes a Satanic. I remember pointing out that he just had the Eagle song just 5 minutes ago, and after that fight completes, he's a fully completed Satanic.
Now with the Satanic as well, like the beginning of the fight, they actually jumped him and almost bursted him down before he could pop the BKB. And then I watched as he popped his BKB, he was actually gaining HP because there was just no physical damage coming running at him, and his lifesteal was healing him up. And it wasn't even a like Satanic lifesteal, right? It was just a Helmet Dominator, 15% lifesteal. It's not that big of a deal. But now he's got Satanic. He's got that 25% turning into 200% when he pops the active. If they don't manage to kill him within that short period of time where they jump him and he's unable to have his BKB and they kind of chain stun him for a while, that doesn't happen. He pops the BKB, pops the Satanic, and he just goes right back up to full.
Hao's got almost a fully completed MKB at the same time, and Vici Gaming, they know that Roshan's up, and this is the critical fight here, and I think Ehome recognized that as well. They're trying to gather up in the same area so that they can progressively get closer to getting the Roshan. And if you notice, Hao's realizing that at the same time. So what he's doing is pushing in that top lane to guarantee somebody's there to deal with him, and then they're just going to smoke, maybe push, try to get one kill, and then go for the Roshan themselves. Did they even have a smoke?
ROTK is almost able to commit to a Scythe of Ice. If he can get that little bit of extra gold, and we still haven't seen a fight or anything, no Roshan, is it worth it? Not having the buyback, but being able to have that hard disable versus someone like, well, most notably the Ember Spirit, but maybe a hero like, say, the Winter Wyvern. They are able to catch him first because they jump and disable him.
Yes. Okay, both teams are doing what I said. I'm so happy about this.
All right, this is
Head-on
going to be a
collision.
crazy five-man smoke fight. YJ, first run in, Ice, instantly blinking himself away. Super pops the BKB, and there goes Lana. He tried to blink forward to get that disable. House sitting on the side, on the left-hand side, just trying to get Sleight of Fist, but he does run into DDC, ready to go with the overgrowth at any point in time, but no, he actually jumps back to his remnant. CTY comes forward. Super's now no longer has that BKB. The overgrowth holding him in place. Now the vacuum managed to get a big wall in, and Super now drops his own illusions. They turn around, get the breathe fire. 2 down on the side of Ehome, but everyone's low on Vici Gaming. Now they get the Winter's Curse onto YJ, but there's just not enough damage, at least not yet anyway. Now with the MKB, Hao focuses down the gyrocopter and they win the fight. 4 down. Vici Gaming didn't drop a single hero.
Super was so tanky there. He just doesn't die. His BKB was down. Every single hero was hitting him. He must have been hit by like 15 spells. His poor dragon brain could not comprehend the magic flying around him, and it didn't even matter.
The power, I gotta say, that's gotta be the power of Cold Embrace and Glimmer Cape. Making a hero nigh unkillable.
He was so scared when he was stuck in that block of ice. But then he got regenerated. The hibernation was worth it. He just comes back stronger.
It really was. And all the meanwhile, like Hao was just sitting on the side finding those opportunities for Sleight of Fist and Sleight of Fist.
That's a really strong combination. Having this Dragon Knight with a lot of support to back him up, with heroes like the Winter Wyvern who can just keep him alive, and then you have to deal with him because it's not like Hao doesn't do damage, or Super doesn't do damage. He does 200 to hit with the slow, so you have to cut through him before you even begin to get to Hao. So now Ehome is running into the issue where there just isn't quite enough damage, and that's why you saw CTY go for the build that he's going for right now, where he's pumping out physical damage instead of going for something like the Hex.
Hex would be the next item, though, right? After the Assault Cuirass.
I don't even, maybe even a Daedalus or an MKB.
Really?
Yeah.
I figure, I mean, the Sight Device gives him increased attack damage, plus it gives him a solid disable versus the Ember. Like, right now, Orchid is a soft disable.
I guess. But I don't even think it's that.
Oh, Jesus, Lord, if that was not the blink! Oh, God! He almost gets bursted down by that Sleight of Fist. Last couple of right-click damage out from Fenrir is enough to finish him off. Now the Snowball actually saving Super mid-BKB, and he popped it on Illusion as well. He was in the front line. Super is still going to be caught out, but there goes! They get the Cold Embrace on top of that. The Glimmer came down. The turnaround is CTY is controlled. Super dropping lower and lower, but so too does YJ. Hao is ready to make the commitment soon, as YJ now pops the Satanic, trying to eat through. The lifesteal's keeping him alive, but still, the MKB is enough to finish off the gyrocopter, and Hao jumps away. CTY desperate to get the kill, blinks forward and gets him in the end. CTY, though, now having to battle up against the 2 supports. Blinks forward, goes for Fenrir, who cannot get out. CTY gets that kill. FY now being chased away by DDC with the gem. If they can keep in pace, they'll be able to kill FY, but they need to pass off the gem to CTY. That's actually what... Oh, he's going to get this. He's going to get FY. There's no way he gets out of this one anymore. And that's a wipe. Vici Gaming lose all 5 of their heroes, and Ehome only dropped 2. It's the 2 cores, Darkseer on the gyrocopter, but CTY just brought big time, and he's 7,200 gold now.
All right, I'll say it for him, Rampage, because that was a long rampage, you know, but he deserved that because he was the proponent of all 5 kills there for his team, picking up the Ultra kill, then the last one on the Bounty Hunter. You know what that was, too? I was actually just trying to watch as like 1,000 different things happened. It was because the gyrocopter got so low that Hao actually stopped doing Hao things. He got in melee range instead of relying on the Sleight of Fist that he was before, and he's like, oh, he's got 2 hits left, I'll just get in melee range and kill him.
Yep.
Pops the Satanic. Hao realizes way too late that this was a mistake. Gets taken down immediately.
Yeah, like even if he does manage to finish off the gyrocopter, he's overcommitted himself to that point in time where he takes so much damage, then CTY just finished him off.
Oh, that was just.
And now we'll see what the next item is. He's already bought something. What is it?
Get an MKB. Oh,
is it MKB?
He did it. Of course, I told you.
You're right.
He's got to get that physical damage. He realizes it too because it's pointless if they don't kill Super. Then what's the point of it all?
Yeah. Okay.
Solar Crest. What? I
just really figured he would deal with the main damage dealer and not the tank in the front, but.
I don't think, because what ends up happening is if he blinks past and hexes Hao, then he just gets, Hao gets Cold Embraced, and then you get Winter's Cursed.
That's a good point.
So you have to deal with Super first. I think they recognize that too.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll kill Super.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I'm thinking like, what is the Co-op afraid of? She blinks forward, has the BKB, Scythe devices up the Ember Spirit, and even if you don't finish him at that point, you brought him low enough that he has to play scared. But you're right. I mean, the BKB is kind of neutralized by the fact that there's that guaranteed save of Cold Embrace and Glimmer Cape. By the time that's down, so too is your BKB, and then Quap is immediately then just addressed by Vici Gaming. And I suppose the BKB is also not as big of a factor when you're dealing with a serious disable that goes through that magic immunity with Winter's Curse.
Yeah, your BKB is just meant to keep you alive during the Winter's Curse. Like, that's the that's the crux of it. But I mean, he doesn't need to build one anymore, as ROTK just bought one of his own, and this is a really significant pickup for Ehome because this is another disable that they can add. Their team is a little bit soft in disables because Lon can't get close. Like, he's not a Hex anymore. He's just like, you see him in every single fight. He gets Sleight of Fist once. Without even the crit, he gets down.
It was such just a bad timing situation. He blinked into creeps because he was in range of the Ember Spirit. But at the same time, the Ember Spirit Sleight of Fist those group of creeps, and he just got blown up by that.
Yeah, he has to actually just wait. He's the new bounty hunter for his team. He just has to wait for something to happen, but they're going to deward their jungle. This should be the play.
But that is, at the same time, no longer his job, right? Like, he no longer has to be the blink hard disabler because that's RTK.
Yeah, it's pretty irrelevant. The line, I'm not going to say he's irrelevant, but there is a time period where when lines get Blink Dagger, you can be the primary initiator because there's nothing that can instantly kill you. But now that everybody's got MKBs and crits and stuff like that, you're an 872 HP lion. You're not on the priority list of the tree to get the living armor, and so it doesn't really matter if you die in these fights.
Now you're the late follow-up. Unless he finds a situation like this. How, though? Lotus Orb. There it is. Another defensive great item on him. Immediately targeted. They still have your spike with little qual control. How? But now they managed to get a good vacuum into the wall, controlling some of these heroes. FY is probably going to be the first to drop. But no, actually they managed to get a really good Winter's Curse controlling YJ. There goes the ultimate out from CTY, and Super now controlled by the Overgrowth. Pops the BKB and runs himself away. The Lotus Orb is helping him out. Howling sitting in the background trying to get more Sleight of Fist, but nobody is brought low enough for him to be able to make a commitment. Fenrir will go down eventually, and now Super is in some serious trouble. Ice in the background managed to pick up another kill on RTK, but it's How. That's the important one. He gets controlled up. The Orchid takes him out. Super even going for the kill on DDC, but congratulations. You killed a tree, but you lost a dragon.
That was so well played by Ehome throughout that entire fight. Perfect synergy in the fight. The Gyrocopter and the Queen of Pain were both really unafraid. They were leading the frontline charge. The play by Lonem at the same time, he Ghost Scepters as the Sleight of Fist hit comes in, and he just manages to keep himself a little bit longer, forces How to overextend, and Vici Gaming just overestimating their strength. Like, Super is not as tanky as he once was. The Winter Wyvern Curse isn't doing anything really because Ehome is always perfectly split up in these fights. It's just a temporary solution at this point.
4,400 gold on our Gyrocopter. MKB the next item, I'm presuming for him, because he also has to address Super. Wait, we actually still... I'm sorry, I was operating on the assumption we were going to see Halberd. When did he actually complete this SNY?
Right after we said he should go.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty funny. I was going to point it out, but I wanted us to feel good for a second. I really just feel like Halberd would have been better, though.
Yeah.
Like, there was a time period where I think that having the extra evasion would have helped out a lot, but opts to go for the SNY, and oh man, this is the scary part, is CTY grabs a Refresh Orb. So that's a new 10-second BKB. And more importantly than that, it means that he can eventually sell this Orchid to go for the Hex. And that would be two Hexes.
Double Hexes, double BKB. You've got 1,000 pure damage cone coming out with the double Sonic Waves. This is going to be rough. I mean, 1,000 damage is actually, you know, over 1/3 of Dragon Knight's HP. It's 1/3 of Ember Spirits. And it'll actually, like, straight up kill almost heroes like Bounty Hunter.
It's like an AoE Lina ult.
Yeah.
That's
actually a great way to put that.
It's a coned AoE Lina ultimate in damage right now that you're seeing because of that Refresh Orb. If you thought that ability was insane before, wait till you see it in action. You know what the biggest problem with Vici's lineup is? Because they don't have any natural satanic heroes, when the fight is committed, whatever HP they're at, they're stuck at that. Like, they can't do anything to refresh that. They can't change their fates. Whereas if you look at Ehome's lineup, they've got a Satanic on their Gyrocopter, they've got a Treant, they've got a Mech Darkseer. Like, they have very many different ways to keep refreshing and healing and keep the fight going. Whereas once Hao's at half HP, he's at half HP. Same thing with Super. That's why I think Super should go for
Is it really just no credence for the Guardian Greaves?
On who?
On these heroes that ended up going for mech. Darkseer doesn't have it yet on him, despite that it's being 54 minutes. Same goes with Bounty Hunter.
I think he's focused on going for the Hex, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because there are 5-second BKBs now, and imagine if you could get a Hex onto the Gyrocopter who's only got a 5-second BKB, you could stop the Satanic and win the fight.
True.
I think that's why it means overall less.
Okay.
In a different game where there wasn't a Satanic in the game, I would say that there's a large argument that could be made for the Guardian Graves, but 1,600 gold, that's half of an ultimate, or more than half of an ultimate. He's almost got it. 1-1 team fight, and they could just grab one fully.
And maybe a pick off on CTY is a great way to start. He gets on the BKB. Waller's Punch still controls him. So too does the Winter's Curse. They're trying to beat him down, and they will be successful. How now pops Manton in order to get out of the overgrowth.
He one-shots the tree.
Oh dear, there goes the tree protector. He's controlled by the missile, but How doesn't care. It seems like the fight has already kind of been won. RTK comes in with vacuum. They know the Queen of Pain is on her way thanks to that buyback, but Ehome are still trying to force it. They come forward with the Hex. RTK is now going to be turned around on. He hasn't got the wall just yet. Now pops it. The mech goes off. Oh, the Gyrocopter gets blown up by the Sleight of Fizz, and the Queen of Pain is just too late. Ice is now here. Lotus Orb on him will be able to protect. They get it, Lanham. That was a buyback that just... I'm not sure what they thought there. That CTY was somehow going to be able to make his way from the fountain all the way to the right side of the map in time to be a part of that engagement.
That How has to bless whatever RNG god that he knows for the 2 crits that he got right there to instantly blow up 2 different heroes. The tree was there, and then he Houdini'd out of there. He's like, I'm gone. It's almost like he was a tango and he got eaten, and oh my, that was incredible. 1,300 crit. He was next to 2 heroes, so the Battle Fury Cleave doubled up on him. He instantly goes down, and the buybacks are committed, but Ehome have to be so nervous after that last fight.
Oh yeah, they can't afford something like that. They have to kind of just sit back at this point, right? And just wait out their buybacks.
The Roshan is available to Vici Gaming.
I mean, do you contest Roshan as Ehome? Like, even if you knew like the exact timing, say you had full vision at everything of Vici Gaming and what they're doing around the Roshan pit, do you even try risking it, or do you just sit back and go, okay, they get the Aegis and Cheese advantage, and we just like play defense for 5 minutes until buybacks are up?
I think that 5 minutes is too long.
Okay.
That there's just too much that can happen. If you lose like this, you would prefer to lose like this, like doing something and being active on the map, rather than just playing passively and hoping that nobody gets picked off in that 5-minute period. Yes, teams are good enough for that to happen, but I mean, so the flip side exists too, that Vici Gaming is really talented and they could just pick one of you guys off during that time and you lose as a group. So I think Ehome, they should feel okay, because it wasn't like that was a perfect 5v5 for either team. Like if it was, then Ehome would probably just play the wait and see option, but because CTY, their primary damage dealer, got blown up before he got anything off. Like he actually didn't get a single ability off, he only got his BKB off and then he died. I actually thought there was a little bit of room for him to go for the blink, but I think he just overestimated his tankiness, and then Ice came out of nowhere and punched him in the chest.
Yeah.
Sent him flying.
He popped that BKB and kind of like stuck around, and then all of a sudden, Walrus Punch, Winter's Curse.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've got so many good abilities to go through that BKB. A 5-man smoke up from Ehome. This is basically an all-in commitment from them. They've already blown a lot of buybacks. And they're hoping to be able to catch Vici Gaming unawares and win a team fight, which will allow them to force buybacks and maybe even take Roshan for themselves.
This is the game-winning play.
FY comes forward. They pop the smoke here. The Nature's Guides was still there from Lanham.
Oh, they know though. Vici Gaming don't want to blow it, so they're actually just going to run away, regroup, wait for the smoke to run out, and they're going to see in just a second here that Ehome are smoked up around that Roche area, and they might actually just go for it on their own. Like, I think the correct play for them is to smoke, look for them if they can, because they know that they have their own buybacks, I think How at least has a buyback. Yeah, he's got buyback with Boots of Travel too. So he can instantly be in this fight. So it's really big that they get super an Aegis here, or they look for a pick off of their own. So what's going to happen is Hao's going to push this top lane out as long as he can. He's going to see CTY here, who only has the first Boots of Travels, and then he's just going to immediately TP onto one of his teammates once he sees the overcommitment. And then
there it is.
Yeah,
and then Roshan's already down to half HP, so.
Yeah. And then Super gets a cheese, I guess. They get an Aegis on Ice Ice Ice. I actually think it should have been the other way around. But I guess they think he's tanky enough.
And Dragon Knight, he's not a particularly strong Aegis hero because of Dragon form.
You know what? You're right. This was the better choice. Because if he's at 200 HP with Dragon form, you'd rather have the cheese.
Vici Gaming, 5-manning into the tier 3 tower now. Vici ready to rock and rumble, and Ehome, this is pretty much do or die for them. They really don't want to let 2 sets of racks go down. Bottom already leading with the first Hex, but this is the thing. Super. It actually waits until the missile lands, and then it goes out, just the same way that Snowball works.
The reverse rocket.
I referred like, I figured like that, okay, Snowball works that way, but I couldn't really see a reason why Missile would have worked that way too.
Super so tanky though. Yeah, they're just going to let him frontline tank.
Already the range threats. Oh, RTK! That was a preemptive blink! They managed to side device him up immediately, and now Super is going to be able to get the Dragon Tail plus the Winter's Curse, continuing to control these heroes. CTY may just be bursting down before anything happens. There he goes! A Snowball locks him down. A great vacuum wall combination, but YJ needs to stay alive, but he can't. The Satanic is not good enough, and Vici Gaming just take out Ehome in one final climactic team fight. A nice big critical for How to show off, wiping Ehome, and Vici Gaming look healthy as ever.
CTY has been so careful this game, and then in the last 2 fights, he couldn't get anything off. Like, he didn't get his ultimate. His refresher was untouched in the last 10 minutes that he's had it. And they were just, Ehome was just so careful and methodical the entire game. They were so disciplined, and for them to lose like that, I think they're going to be incredibly disappointed.
Ehome